Dear students, in today's lecture we'll try to discuss modern synthetic theory of evolution. Modern synthetic theory of evolution is basically the modified version of theory of natural selection which was presented by the Darwin, and it is also considered as a sort of reconciliation between Darwin and de Vary's mutation theories. Modern or synthetic theory of evolution was first designated by Huxley in 1942, and it emphasizes on the importance of population which are serve as a unit of evolution and play central role of natural selection. And the central role of natural selection as the most important mechanism of evolution. The scientists who contributed to the outcome of New Darwinism was Huxley and Fisher and Haldane of England, Wright, Muller and Debussy of America. Important postulates of modern synthetic theory. First important postulate is genetic variability. Variability is basically the opposing force of to hereditary and is essential for the evolution, as variations come from the raw material of for the evolution. This study showed that units of both hereditary and mutations are genes which are located in linear manner or on the chromosome. So there are various forces of genetic variability in the gene pool are first of all mutation. There are certain large or inheritable changes in the genetic material, and on the basis of genetic materials which are involved, there are further three types of mutations. First mutation is the chromosomal aberration. This includes the morphological changes in the chromosome without affecting the number of chromosomes. So these results changes either in the number of genes, deletion or duplication, or position of the genes. There are four types of chromosomal aberrations. First is the deletion, which involves the loss of gene block from the chromosome and may be terminal or intercalary. Second is the duplication, that involves the presence of some genes more than one, which is called as repeats, and it may be tandem or reverse duplication. Third is the translocation, which involves the transfer of gene block from one chromosome to non-homologous chromosome and may be simple or reciprocal type. Second and the fourth one, chromosomal aberration, is the inversion, which involves the rotation of intercalary gene block through 180 degree. The next type of genetic variability is the numerical chromosomal mutation, and that include change in the number of chromosomes. These may be euploidy, gain or loss of one or more genomes. Euploidy may be haploidy or polyploidy on the basis of loss or gain of one or more genomes. Aneuploidy, that is also loss or gain of one or two chromosomes. And hypoploidy, that may be monosomy, loss of one chromosome, or nullisomy, loss of two chromosomes. Or hyperploidy is also included, which may be trisomy, gain of one chromosome, or tetrasomy, that is the gain of two chromosomes. Another source of genetic variability is the gene mutation, which is also known as the point mutations, and then these are invisible change in the chemical nature of the gene and are of three types. Deletion, which is involves loss of one or more nucleotide pairs. Second one is the addition, which involves gain of one or more nucleotide pairs, and third is the substitution, which involves the replacement of one or more nucleotide pairs. Another source of other than mutation in genetic variability is the recombination of genes. Thousands of new recombinations of genes are produced due to crossing over, chance arrangement of bivalents at the equator during metaphase 1, and chance fusion of gametes during fertilization. So these also results in the recombination of gene and results in the genetic variability. Next is a source of genetic variability is the hybridization, which involves the interbreeding of two genetically different individuals to produce hybrids. Next is the physical mutagens, radiations, temperatures, etc., and chemical mutagens, for example nitrous acid, etc. These are involved in the change in the genetic variability. Genetic drift also plays in the role of genetic variability. It is basically the elimination of genes of some original characteristics of the species by extreme reduction in the population due to epidemics or migrations, etc. And there are chances of variations are also increased by non-random mating. Next important postulate of modern synthetic theory of evolution is the natural selection. Natural selection of modern synthetic theory differs from that of Darwinism, that it does not operate through the survival of fittest, but it operates through differential reproduction and comparative reproductive successes. Differential reproduction states that those members which are best adapted to the environment reproduce at higher rate and produce more offsprings than those which are not less adapted. So these contributes proportionality greater percentage of genes to the gene pool of next generation, while less adapted individuals produce fewer offsprings. If the differential reproduction continues for a number of generations, then genes for those individuals which produce more offsprings will become more prominent in the gene pool of the populations. Here you can see in this diagram that is the parental generation. Here variant is just 1 out of 10, and in this case there is 3 variants which have been produced, and their percentage got 25%, while in next generation there is second offsprings generation, there is more variation. 9 out of 18 offsprings there are variant, and in next generation third offspring generation, which is in this case variation is 75%. So which individual produce more offsprings? Mostly those individuals are best adapted to the environment and whose sum of positive selection pressure due to useful genetic variability is more than the sum of negative selection pressure due to harmful genetic variability, which have better chances of sexual selection due to development of some bright colored spots on their body, and those who are able to overcome the physical and biological environmental factors to successfully reach the sexual maturity, those will produce basically the more offsprings. So natural selection of New Darwinism acts as a creative force and operates through the comparative reproductive success. Third important postulate of modern synthetic theory of evolution is the reproductive isolation. Any factor which reduces the chance of interbreeding between the related group of living organisms is called an isolation mechanism. Reproductive isolation is must so as it allows the accumulation of variations leading to speciation by preventing hybridization. In the absence of reproductive isolation, these variants freely interbreed, which lead to intermixing of their genotypes, diluting their particularities and disappearance of differences between them. So reproductive isolation helps in the evolutionary divergences. Thank you.